Okay, so obviously there's nothing fun about sciatica. I mean, except maybe the word sciatica, because it sounds like some sort of a scientific prison, some sort of combination between science and Attica, or saying the word sciatica. Sciatica affects that. Okay, well, that may be, but the actual condition is not quite so fun. So basically, what's going on is we feel pain in our legs or a numbness in our legs because the sciatic nerve, which runs up through our legs into our lower spine, through maybe the lumbar vertebrae and the sacral vertebrae. Some of those vertebrae are actually, what's happening is they are compressing, coming together, and they're basically inflaming or aggravating the nerves, right? Um, Due to a number of different possible things. Obviously, it could be a slip disc, or it could be that for some reason the what is it called, the inner goo of our it's called the nucleus pulposus. Yes, the inner goo in our it's more of a gel actually in our spinal cord. Sometimes there are tears, and that leaks out, and then it kind of deflates like a punctured tire, and allows the vertebrae to actually impact on the nerves along the spine. So that sends a message to our brain, and we say, "Oh, this hurts." Typically, it seems like outside of a few exercises they may give you, really the current treatment is all about like trying to put more space in there to allow it to heal, or maybe just giving you drugs so you don't feel the pain so much. And these things, temporarily at least, may seem to help. But the problem is that if you don't give your body the means to heal itself, and you don't correct the behavior that caused it in the first place, if your back has not been straight and not been used properly for 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or however many years, then just doing anything of a superficial nature is not going to cure it. So what we have to do is change the way that we use our spines, and also give our body the chance to heal itself of these problems. And this is easier said than done, especially since it's the kind of problem that produces a lot of pain, and the pain makes us not want to do anything. And if we're going to heal ourselves, if we're going to fix ourselves, movement is exactly what we need to do. We need to move. We need to put our back into a different posture, which is exactly what our mind, through the pain, is telling us not to do. Okay? And we have to be careful, because sometimes the pain is telling us that we shouldn't be doing something, right? But sometimes the pain is just an artifact of the condition that our past behavior has led to. Pain from the situation. So we have to be sensitive to our bodies, and sensitive about what kind of pain it is, and if it's an acceptable pain or if it's not an acceptable pain. So please be careful, please be sensitive. But we can also do some things in setting up the yoga poses to make our bodies feel more comfortable and give ourselves a chance to heal ourselves and get into these positions while not making ourselves endure an excruciating amount of pain. The method we use is a very high-tech solution, and that's to use pillows and blankets. The pillows we use are actually bolsters, which have a nice roundness to them, for supporting the body, for lifting the body up, and also the length is about the width of a human body. Most people will not be as wide as these bolsters. The blankets are just your general blankets. Ours are pink, but anything that covers the floor and makes it a little bit less soft, a little bit less cold, that will work as well. We can also use the blanket like a belt. We can roll it up and use it like a belt or a string or a strap. And we can also, if the bolster is too big for any given pose, we can also roll up the blanket to use it like a smaller version of the bolster. The point of these props, the bolsters and the blankets, is to allow our bodies to assume the correct position so that our spines can lengthen and eventually heal. We want to hold all these poses for at least 1 minute. There should be no strength issues because the bolster you're just allowing your body to relax around the bolsters. So you should be able to comfortably hold the poses for at least a minute, maybe longer if you feel like it. Okay, if you fall asleep, it's not such a big deal, but try to be aware. It's not really, even though our bodies are relaxing and need to be very relaxed, we need our minds to be very, very aware so that we can try to remember how our body feels so that we can try to replicate those sensations throughout the rest of the day. So do be very aware. Be aware of your breath. Be aware of any tensions you feel, especially maybe in your eyes, especially in your mouth, obviously in your hips or your spine. You want to be more and more aware of the tensions and try to release them as you continue this practice. Okay, for the first pose, we basically just want to lie down, have some bolsters underneath our lower hips and our lower spine, raising them above the level of our back and our shoulders. Legs are going to just relax against the wall. There should be absolutely no strain, no stress. Then let the knees come to the chest and place a bolster underneath between the knees. Okay, again, we're not holding any position. There's no muscle strain. It's just relaxing around the shape of the bolsters. Feeling that roundness and feeling our spine extend and lengthen. So all these poses are gently increasing the front bend. And we can also support ourselves not only with the bolsters, not only with the blankets, but with our own body. Here we see that my foot is actually on my knee, again creating more space, especially in that case in the left hip. Of course, we want to switch sides. And if we find that our legs are collapsing, we can also place a bolster in between to create space and not allow our legs to collapse. The butterfly pose, same thing. We used a bolster so that our knees don't collapse, where we can relax. We don't have to strain, but we still are maintaining that space and allowing our backs to become, and our hips to relax and widen more and more. So also notice that we're using the belt here this time. We can use a blanket rolled up in the same way. And after we do this, this is about as much of a front bend as we're going to do. So once we're finished, we need to make sure that we do the opposite pose. So here, I'm on my belly, my face is down. Again, the bolsters are still there. I'm still feeling the bolsters. And this time I'm going to stretch the back in the opposite direction so that I'm creating space in the front of my hips instead of the back of the hips, as I was before. This time I'm using the blanket like it was a belt not to pull, but just to relax and just to hold my legs in position. After we finish the poses, we want to just sit down on the bolsters, extending our arms out in front of us, our heads down, just again concentrating on the breathing, being aware of our bodies. We're going to hold that for, again, about a minute. And then after we finish that, we're going to sit up gently, extend the arms over the head, and just breathe. It should be noted that even though the video was a little bit choppy between the poses and it jumped from pose to pose, when you move to the different poses, do it very gently, do it very slowly. We don't want to make any jarring movements. We don't want to get up suddenly or jump up suddenly and then go to another relaxing pose. We want to move slowly, we want to move deliberately, and be aware of our movements between the poses as much as we're aware of our bodies during the poses. Because it's all about the awareness. and about becoming more aware of how to balance our bodies and how to position our bodies all the time, not just when we're doing this practice, which we should be doing at least twice a day, in the morning and in the evening. So I think that if you continue this practice on a regular basis, you'll find that it helps you. And good luck. I hope you enjoyed this. Bye.